Welcome. Today's share is about davening la'asad lavai. We'll focus primarily on whether or not there'll be obligation to daven when Moshiach comes, and what exactly it would be. I just want to point out that I realized I was doing the sources. All of a sudden I realized that there's a piece of the Torah that discusses it in the very beginning of this week's parsha. There's a piece of the Torah that discusses, that explains this idea. So anyways, the question arises from, first of all, what's the reason why davening was established? So let's see in source number 1, it's the Gemara Masechtas Brachos Daf Chavav Amud Beis. Itmar Rabbi Yosi ben Rabbi Chanina Omar. Rabbi Yosi, the son of Rabbi Chanina, said, Tfilos avos tiknon. The tfilos, all the different davening, were established by the avos, were established by our forefathers Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Omar, Tfilos keneged temidim tiknom, that the prayers, the davening, Shachris Mincha Ma'ariv, were established corresponding to the carbon tamid. The carbon tamid is a sacrifice that was brought in the Beis Hamikdash every single day, 2 times a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. We'll be mentioning it a lot, so I want to explain what carbon tamid means. Now, so you have 2 reasons. Either because of Tfilas Keneged, the Avis were established by the Avis, or Keneged Timidim. Now let's see first source number 2 and 3 in the later Poskim, how we accept. The Rambam in Hilchos Tefillah Perek Aleph Halacha He, V'chein tiknu sheyaheit minyan hatfilos keminyan hakabanis. And they also established that the number, the amount of prayers, the amount of davening should be the same amount as the kabbanis. State fitness b'chol yom. 2 prayers, 2 davening. In other words, 2 main davenings every day. Kineged shnei temidim, corresponding to the 2 carbon tamids. V'chol yom sheyesh carbon musaf. Thank you. V'chol yom sheyesh carbon musaf, and every day that has a carbon muknis, carbon musaf, tiknu by tefillah shlushis kineged carbon musaf. Meaning like this, in Shabbos and Yom Tov, in addition to the study, to the carbon tamid, to the study carbonis of the morning and the afternoon, there was a 3rd carbon known as a carbon musaf, which came special on each Shabbos and Yom Tov. So on days that they brought a carbon musaf, they would bring a 3rd. We added it also in that. The tefillah shekineged tamid shel boker, and the davening that is corresponding to the morning davening, Hinekras Tfilas Shachar, is called Tfilas Shachar. It's Tfilas Shekineged Tamid Shel Ben Abayim, Hinekras Tfilas Mincha. It's Tfilas Shekineged Hamasafin, Hinekras Tfilas Hamasafin. Then the additional prayer is called Tfilah of Musaf. Now there's a reason why we'll see later. We'll get back to different expressions of the Rambam. But in general, we see the idea that the Rambam paskins also that the tefillah, the davening was established keneged tamid. Now let's see the Alter Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch also, source number 3. The tefillah he b'makom carbon. The tefillah is in the place of a carbon. Then the Alter Rebbe goes on to explain that's why you have to treat it with respect. Another interesting halacha that the Alter Rebbe mentions here, that because it's such a special thing, really you should have a special nice garment for davening. But we do not obligate people to spend so much money in it. It's just an interesting thing. But regarding our main point, is we paskin that tefillah, the keneged karbanis, the tefillah was established for the carbon. So now, here comes our question. If the tefillah, seemingly, what means b'makom karbanis? What means keneged timidim? What would be the simple understanding? It's like this. We have obligation, one of the tayag mitzvahs, or actually 2 or 3 of the tayag mitzvahs, is to bring a offering, a carbon tamid. Tamid shel shachar and tamid shel ben abayim, to bring an offering. When we have a Beis Hamikdash, then we bring the carbon. In the time of Galus, if we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, then we replace it with davening. That would be the simple understanding of this. So if that's the case, it comes the obvious question, what will be when Moshiach comes? When Moshiach comes, which should be soon, you have a very simple, on one hand you could argue, now we're bringing the carbon musaf, the carbon tamid, and the carbon musaf. There's no need to replace it with davening, being that we have the carbon itself. We don't need to have the replacement of davening. On the other hand, if you say that tefillas is avos tiknum, that tefillas was established by the avos, so seemingly it's not connected to karbanos at all. So that's the case. Then we should bring the carbon. Then we should daven even when Mashiach comes. So now, really, this same question is not the first time it's relevant when Mashiach comes. This very question is in the times of the first Beis Hamikdash and the second Beis Hamikdash, whether or not they daven them. So based on that, you go back to the sources, we could figure out whether or not we will daven when Mashiach comes. Before we continue to get into this, I just want to point out a very simple question. If you open up a siddur, you see, let's say so let me ask a question. Let's say when Mashiach comes, we will daven, right? Let's say when the time of Beis Hamikdash they daven. Shemini Esrei, the first three brachas is praise of Hashem, Ata Choyne, Hashivenu, fine. Then the many brachas, the bracha of Einav and Yenu, Ugaleinu Mehera Man Shemech, redeem us, bring the Geula very soon. You conclude Gadol Yisrael. Another bracha is Tekah b'Shofar Gadol. You should sound the big shofar again. We're asking Hashem to bring Mashiach. Alat Tzadikim. Lamalshinim is also very much connected to Mashiach. Malchus Risha made us Akir to have the kingdom of Hashem. Shiv Shiftein was also connected. So that's already, maybe you could give a different explanation. But the point being, most of the brachas in Shemini Esrei, at least the ones that are request, more than the basic majority, Ruba called in Lashon Kodesh Ruba, the Ruba of the brachas are talking about Mashiach. So how could you say these brachas won't make any sense when Mashiach comes? We're in Yerushalayim with Mashiach. We have Mashiach. So on this source, turn to your second page. This is brought in the top of the page from a Sefer Rimois Mashiach Balacha by Rabbi Galitsky. So he brings a few different things in this. So Hine Yedua Madiisa b'Medrash Yalka Shemoni. It's known what it says in the Medrash. Call it Tfilas B'Teila. All the prayers will be batul, will be nullified. But Haida, the praise will not be nullified. Meaning like this, Shemini Esrei consists of total of 19 brachas. You have 3 brachas in the beginning of the praise of Hashem, 3 brachas in the end, also the praise of Hashem. So you're left with 13 brachas of Bakasha Shach asking requests. So we're saying the brachas of praise will continue. So it's explained, it explains the asid love, when there will be a abundance of good, all the blessings will be there in abundance. So Tfilah Shemini Esrei lo yiyeh b'derech bakashas tzrachav, ela b'derech hoida. The brachas will not be in a way of asking request. It will be in a praise. Let's skip to the next column where you see again it's underlined. Yeh shinui benusach shalahem b'zman hagoyim v'tchiyah. Kimoi ushvoin oil hagoyim, as it says, you should break the yoke of the nations from upon us. Naima will replace it v'noide lecha al shevarta oil hagoyim. We will praise you on the fact that you broke the yoke of the goyim. And you will lead us and you led us to our land. And similarly, we praise to you, Hashem. Everything will be in a past tense in a way of brachas. Meaning, instead of saying all these brachas that for years and years we're saying now as a bakash, as a request to Hashem to bring Moshiach, we'll finally say, we thank you, Hashem, for replacing us with Moshiach. And it goes on to explain, without getting into it, he brings proofs that are also in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, which again is questionable of the daven, but we'll get to the conclusion later, was also in a way then it was to continue on the strength of Yerushalayim, to continue on the strength of the Jewish kingdom, and so on and so forth. That it was then it was a little bit different, less of thanks, more of just please Hashem, keep it going. So you see, so that just explains how it's relevant. The davening, obviously, it has to be a little bit different. So back to our original question. Just a side point. You see in Shemona Esrei, you see when the brachas is about Moshiach. If anyone ever asks why we're so obsessed with Moshiach, it says, why you could answer back. Why do you have Kiddush in mind when you daven? You have in mind every day that has 3/4 of davening is about Moshiach. Now, so there's an interesting question in Chidah, which he discusses mainly in the Zman Beis HaMikdash. In Chidah, in the Sefer Machzor Bracha, he had one of this Chidah that said as far in every Sefer and every topic is a different name of the Sefer, but it's really one. So it's a Sefer called Machzor Bracha. So he asks the question, he brings a question that we have here in source number 4. I couldn't find the text of the Machzor Bracha, so he brings it from the Noda B'Yehuda. The Noda B'Yehuda asks the question, Vashin Badak Lon Malosei Lama Psuke HaMusafin Kov B'Tfilas HaMusaf. Why, when it comes to Shabbos Musaf, all of a sudden, a big part of the Musaf, and this is not only Shabbos Musaf, any Musaf, Yom Tov Musaf also, is the Psukim of Karbonos. But the parashas of Tamid, which is every single day, we don't say not on weekday, not on Shabbos either. We don't say the Psukim of the Karbonos, the parashas Tamid. Why by Karbon Musaf, especially if we're saying that Tefillah is connected to Midin Tiknum, that Tefillahs are established to correspond because of the Karbonos. So why don't we say the Psukim and the Karbonos?
Say it in Karbonos.
We say it in Karbonos, but first of all, Karbonos is not the same level of Chiyuv. Also, Shemona Esrei, why? If the whole Musaf, if you think about it, the Musaf basically, the main part of the additional Musaf is consists of the Psukim. You look in Yom Tov Musaf, every day is a little different. So he proves from this a very strong point, which is very relevant to our question. He proves from this that the main part of davening, the main reason for davening is because there's a mitzvah in the Torah, according to some Rishonim it's min Torah, according to some Rishonim it's the Rabbanon, but the concept is va'avadtem es havaya lekeichem, to serve Hashem. How do we serve Hashem? How do you serve Hashem? Ezo avodah shebelev ivzu tefillah. What is avodah shebelev? It's davening, and the way to fulfill this mitzvah is through davening. So yes, later when they established it, it's corresponding, it fits the order and when to daven and so on. That's connected the carbon to midin. But really, the main thing is because of Adam Masavah Lekechem. And he brings a very nice proof from Gemara Sukkah Daf Nun Gimel and Aleph, source number 5, which many of us know it from Simchus Beis Sheva. Amar Rabbi Shua ben Chananya, Rabbi Shua ben Chananya said, "Kishayinu smeichim b'simchas hasbeis hasheva." When we were celebrating, when we were joining in the joy of the Beis Sheva, Leireinu Shina Beinenu, we did not see any sleep in our eyes, meaning we did not sleep for the entire 7 days of Sukkot. Ketzad, he explained, Shari Shaina, the first hour of the day is Tamid Shel Shachar, was the carbon Tamid. So they brought the carbon Tamid. Misham, Litfila. From there, you went to davening Shachris. So you see the davening. Let's finish the Gemara. Misham the carbon Musaf. Then after davening, so the first hour of the day was the carbon. Then they davened. Misham the carbon Musaf. Then they went right to the carbon Musaf. Misham Tfilas HaMusafim. From there to davening Musaf. So you see again they davened all the tefillas. Misham Libeis HaMedrash. Now, what are you going to do the rest of the day? From there they went to learn. Misham Mechila V'Shtiya. From there to eating a little bit. Misham Tfilas HaMincha. Then the Tfilas Mincha. Misham Tamid Shabbein Abayim. You see again the daven, and then they brought the carbon Tamid Shabbein Abayim. And right after the carbon Shabbein Abayim, we come V'ilach the Simchas Beis HaShe'eva. Then they went on for the Simchas She'eva, which went the whole night. So when I asked, is it indeed so? Just to finish up the Gemara, it says Shvuah Shalei Ishin Shleish Yamim Malkin. I say if a person makes a shvuah that he won't sleep for 3 days, he gets lashed. Why? Right away. Because it's impossible. It's impossible to something to keep. So how can you say that you're up for 8 days? And we didn't taste the sleep, the taste of sleep. We would fall asleep on each other's shoulders during the dancing. Meaning in the Bishmadish, when they learned it was perfect, they were awake. But they fell asleep in the middle of dancing. And the Rebbe many times brought this by the Sichas of Simchas Be'Sheva, and the Rebbe demanded this from Chassidim to a whole day to learn, to do kinestatus, to go on Mitzvayim all day, and at night to sit in for brain and dance Simchas Be'Sheva. But in any case, what do you see here very clearly? The Chida argues, you see here clearly that even in the time when there is Karbanis, they daven.
Wow.
So that's why again he concludes that they would daven in these times. And it happens to be in the Golos, it's a side benefit. Because you don't have Karbanis, it's also because it's also in the time of, it happens to be in the time of Karbanis, so it also replaces that part. Now, so this is all, so based on this, regarding our question, based on the Chida's way of learning, it's very clear, I mean not very clear, it seems there's no reason to say that we shouldn't daven when Moshiach comes. But now let's focus, so, and this seems to be the conclusion, that we would daven when Moshiach comes. But now there's still another question regarding Musaf. Why is Musaf different? Again, what is different than Musaf? So we mentioned earlier already. What's different than Musaf is because Musaf, the content of Musaf is all about the Kabbalah. Let's see a Teisus in Sechus Berachos after. The Gemara over there is discussing the halachas of hashlomus of davening. There's many halachas, complicated halachas, but there's a whole set of halachas and it has a relevance. If someone forgets to daven, shachris, or was in a situation he couldn't daven shachris, the halacha is that under certain circumstances he could daven mincha twice. He gets to daven mincha, under certain circumstances he can daven mincha twice. And what's interesting about these halachas is that even when it's from weekday to Shabbos and Shabbos to weekday, which we'll focus on in later. So Taisus in Sechus Berachos says like this. So that's what the Gemara is discussing. So Taisus in source number 6, Loi boy, we're not asking a question in Tov Loi Yispalel Tfilas Musaf. We're not asking a question if someone made a mistake and they're not daven Musaf. The Havadai Eile Mispalel Ba'arvis. He definitely cannot daven Musaf in Arvis, in Banai. The Heich Yikra Sakarbanis. How can we read the Karbanis? Because over Zman Musaf. The halachas by Karbanis, by Karbanis there was no such thing as a shlomus. If you didn't bring a carbon, the halacha, there is a famous line, over Zmanai but the Karbanis. The time passed, the carbon goes over. Musaf has to be brought before an hour after Chatzos, before the 7th hour. And once that time passes, he can't die. It makes no sense to say the Pesukim later. V'gam loy tiknu sheva brachos shel Musaf, and they didn't establish either the 7 brachos of Musaf, right? Because the 7 brachos, In the weekdays we have Shemona Esrei, 18 brachas, which is really 19 brachas, because they added Bilam Mashinim. On Shabbos it's all 7 brachas, right? So they didn't establish the 7 brachas, so someone could say, you know what, I'll skip the psukim. But Elam Mishum and Nushalma Parim Sefaseinu is only because the pasuk of Nushalma Parim Sefaseinu, which is brought a lot for davening, meaning will pay the parim, the oxen, the karbanos with Sefaseinu with our lips. That will replace the karbanos with our lips. And regarding this, for sure, once its time passed, the carbon is bottled. So meaning, because this entire musaf is just for karbanos, you can't replace it. Avol shar tefillos, but regarding other tefillos, the rachmininu, that it's all about asking for rachm, asking for mercy, and the famous line, "V'halavai sheyispal kol yom kulei," and halavai a person should daven all day long. The enkan of his man b'tefillah cheres, and that's why you don't have the concept of over his man if it's time passed with another davening, which we'll get back to later. Explain this last line. But the point that the Toshis is saying here is musaf is not something that you could replace, because the entire idea of musaf is the fact that it is in place of the karbanos. And an interesting halacha actually comes out from this. An interesting halacha comes out from this. It's a machlekes actually, and I'm not saying this halacha. I'm just saying the concept of it is that the tzlach, which is also said for written by the Rebbe Yehuda, says from this you see that the women are not obligated in musaf. Why is that? The halacha is like this. Normally, there's a rule that women, nashim peturis mitzvah seishes mangram, women are exempt from any time-bound mitzvah. Any mitzvah that is constricted to time, they're not obligated. We're learning out from Sukkim, we're not getting into that. So based on that, really they should not be obligated in davening. However, it says being that davening is just asking for rachmim, asking for mercy from Hashem. So then they are obligated because they also need the brachas, right? So the tzach says from this text you see that when it comes to musaf, it falls back under the category of mitzvah seishes man grama. And they says very clearly that it's not tfilas rachmim. So that's why nashim should be potter, women should be potter. There are those that argue, and it's a lot of discussion and back and forth in halacha, but the concept is clear. The concept is that you see that musaf is unique, and we see the halacha on source number 7. The Rebbe passing like this in the Shulchan Aruch. Over kol hayom lo yispal musaf ein lo tashlumin. If a person passes through the day and did not daven musaf, he has no way to make it up. Sheheich yikra karbanos. How could you read karbanos? Vikvar over is man musaf. And the Rebbe quotes this lashon again, which we won't go over, but it basically you see the halacha and we passing. You don't have musaf is it again. So if that's the case, how come when it comes to musaf? How come when it comes to musaf do we indeed say? Do we indeed say that we will say it again when Moshiach comes? So there's an interesting answer that explains it as follows. There's a sefer called got the name of the sefer. How did I get it? And how do you get them ask like this? He says that really, if you think about it, what do you mean that tefillah is not a time of rachma? That musaf is not a time of rachma? He brings two gemaras that say in the contrary, that tefillah is the best time to daven. It says, the question is why on Shmini Atzeres, when we start asking for Geshem, we say that tefillah is Geshem. When do we say it? By which tefillah? By musaf. Why? The Medrash says, "She'ein daita shel adam misyashevas elo b'musaf." A person's mind is not settled by Musaf. And in a different. And another thing that we do special in Musaf is Tkiyah Shofar. Rosh Hashanah is doing Musaf because Musaf is a very auspicious time. Musaf is the time when a person has a clear mind. I think with Pashas it means Pashas you're already through the avodah of davening and you're on a higher level. But also, because of this reason itself, because of what Tosfos says that Musaf is different, because Musaf is not just the side thing that it happens to be also a carbon. Musaf is a mamash a carbon. Musaf is like bringing a carbon. Musaf is the whole concept of Musaf is like bringing a carbon. So on the contrary, that's a reason to say that it's more of an Isra'atzin, that it's a more auspicious time, more time for asking Rachman. So what Tosfos is saying that it's not a time of Rachman? So he says very, very simple. Musaf is a very special time, is a time of that you could be pilot great things. And it's a great Isra'atzin. Tosfos is only saying the end of the day, the content of the psukim is all about psukim of Musaf. It's all about words of saying the carbon of Musaf. That you can't do at night because it's the wrong time. It's like a joke. On the other hand, when you're davening, let's say weekday Shemini especially, you're davening the Einav and Yeno, asking Hashem to bring the Geula Shlema, right? Does that make a difference if it's 9 o'clock in the morning, or is it less relevant if it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 9 o'clock in the morning? That's not really time constructed. Yes, the Takanas Chazal is that davening should be in the times of Karbonis, and yes, it should be fitting to that. But the words that I'm saying make a lot of sense to say later in the day. Make a lot of sense to say the next day, the next week, because it's all about asking for brachas. On the other hand, when it comes to this special Musaf davening, with Musaf davening, the words are all about the actual carbon. That doesn't make sense to say later. So that's why. So that answers our question: how come does it seem? Do we see clearly in Gemara Sukkah that in the time of the Beis Hamikdash they did daven Musaf, and why it seems that when Moshiach comes we will daven Musaf? It's because very simple. Musaf is a special time. Musaf is relevant always. The words don't make sense to say past this month. Now, there's one more explanation, which I'll say very briefly. There's a Gemara in Brachas that says that there was a branch that says Shimon HaPekuli, name of a Tana, name of a Tzaddik. His Tishman Esre Brachas Lefnei Gavriel, I'll say the Biyal, that he organized the Brachas of Shemini in front of everyone there. So the Gemara asks, you see that comes from earlier sources, it comes from the Nevi'im, comes from Moshiach Gdela. What do we say? So the Gemara says that it was forgotten, and he reminded them. So there's a Gemara that says, in a few places actually, the Gemara says that shikha, forgetting, is not relevant to something that you should do every day. Which is a very logical thing. If you say Shemini Esrei every day, what I forgot, what type of thing is that? It's something that you say in Berachos HaChamol could be something that you forget. Shemini Esrei, you can forget. So there are those that want to bring an ayah from here that in the time of the Beis Hamikdash they didn't say it. So that's why they used to say it, but then they stopped by the second Beis Hamikdash, and after the Churban they started again. But there's different answers to that, or arguments in that. I just wanted to bring the other tzad. Actually, one more point, which is more of a geshmaka inyan. The others that say that this, that it says in the Gemara Sukkah that we saw that they did daven, that was unique to Bayis Sheni. Meaning like this, we see in the Psukim, we see in the Gemaras, that even during the times of the Beis Hamikdash Hasheni, they knew that there's going to be a Churban. They knew that it's not the Geula Shlema. So then they didn't want to forget the davening. In other words, they knew that the day will come that they'll need a daven. So they kept on davening throughout the time of the Beis Hamikdash. But those that want to argue that Beis Hamikdash Shlishi will come, take it from Yad, that will be a Geula Shlema. So then you don't have that svara. But that's just one svara. But it seems overall you could say that seemingly most of the sources seem to be saying that we will daven when Moshiach comes. And the only thing is, there are those that say that it won't. And what you have to say with Pashtus, what seemingly has to be that it will be a little bit different words. Doesn't make sense. But there are those that say that it will be completely different. It will go back to the way it was originally, that there weren't constricted times when to daven. Everyone davened when they were up to it. Which obviously nowadays won't really work, right? Because if we wait till we're up to it. But when Mashiach comes, it'll be at a much higher level, we'll be able to go back to that. But now we'll go to look at the Torah in source number 8. Not the Rebbe look at the Torah in this week's parsha. Explains why Beruchnius. Why is it really that we don't daven when there's a Beis Hamikdash? Even if practically do daven, what's the concept? Source number 8 of V'zeh Yuvan. This will be understood. Mashetiknu hatfila bezman churban Beis Hamikdash dafka. Why the tefillah was established in the time of the churban dafka? Ki bezman shebeis Hamikdash kayam, in the time that the Beis Hamikdash was standing. V'hoisa shlita umemshala laharasha b'klipus esit achma. L'davik ba'adan kol kach. There wasn't the ability in the klipus and sit achma to connect to the person so much. V'yispardu kol be'ali oven, and all the activists of evil were separate. Avol bezman churban Beis Hamikdash, in the time of the churban Beis Hamikdash, eis asher shalach chulu, in the time that there is a ruling of the klippus and takberes hayetzer b'nefesh habamis, the strength of the yetzer hara and the animalistic soul. Tzarich lahafid the tefillah dafka, we have to separate it through davening b'dishpei eish v'tzimayim v'takas lev kanal. V'tiknu l'spal b'chol yom b'chol yom yitzah shel adam mizgaber olav v'tarich la'osev v'ayim. So why do you have to daven again every day? Because it's not a one-time thing. Every day it gets strength. What's what the Rebbe is saying here? So the Rebbe always explains in Tanya and the Torah. We're all according to Chassidus. What is davening about really? Davening is really about getting the nefesh habahamis not to interfere, or getting that actually embrace, getting the nefesh habahamis to serve Hashem. When is that relevant? Only in the time when the nefesh habahamis is in a state where its natural state is not to serve Hashem, where the yetzer hara, the clippers are so strong that their natural state is not to serve Hashem. But in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, when everyone was much more refined, when there was a greater revelation of the Kos, then it wasn't so important davening. Similar to what it says by Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, it says to Rasa Imnas, if a person that his profession is Torah is not mechuyev to daven, and seemingly he didn't daven every day, because when it's such a refined level that your entire being is expressing Hashem's presence in this world, then you don't have to daven, because you're on that level already. You achieved it without davening. But we're in a situation now where we have to daven. We have to daven every single day, because constantly the Yetzer Hara is waking up, is fighting, and we have to fight the Yetzer Hara. That's why in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, and probably how much more so when Mashiach comes, the importance of davening according to Chassidus is not so important. So that's briefly an overview on this subject. Just one more point. Regarding the specifics of davening when Mashiach comes. This is the last page of our booklet. It's a Reshima from the Rebbe. The Rebbe concludes with a few different things that will be different when Mashiach comes. La'asad lavoi, when Mashiach comes, Yiyu halavim kahanim. The Leviim will be kahanim, but kahanim Leviim, and the kahanim will be the Leviims. Halacha k'beishamah, halacha will be like the beishamah, as we see in right now we pass like the Silom. Mashiach comes, halacha will be like the beishamah. Now regarding our thing, Tefillah Shemana Esra b'koil ram. The Shemana Esra davening will be loud. Meaning, now we daven to ourselves always, b'lachash. When Mashiach comes, we'll daven b'kol ram. Now, what's the idea of this? So, why do we daven b'lachash? Why do we daven quiet? There's two reasons given for why we daven quiet. One reason is because of if someone davens, it says in Gemara, if someone davens loud, is miktane emona. Or it's for those who have very little amuna, meaning that it's as if he doesn't believe that Hashem can hear him if he davens quietly. In other words, Hashem can hear you even if you daven to yourself. Hashem can hear you no matter how you daven. One second. Oh, Hashem can hear you no matter how you daven, right? If you daven to yourself, even if you can't hear yourself, really, Hashem can hear you. So that's why if you're davening loud, it's as if Hashem can hear you without you davening loud. Hashem can hear you perfectly. Then, according to that reason, if you think about it, really that should be relevant even when Moshiach comes. But there's another reason given for it. Another reason is a person's davening to Hashem. If he has Averis, he wants to express his Averis, or at least he'll, by the parts of davening that talk about his Averis, will be with a more broken heart. So not to embarrass, not to humiliate those who have Averis, everyone says it quietly. Like this, everyone has opportunity to say whatever you want without any care. So that reason, when Moshiach comes, when Vesruach Atuma Avim in the Aretz, there will be no spirit of Tumah, when everything will be Kedusha, there will be no Averis in the world. So that reason is not applicable. But the other reason of Kitane Emunah seemingly is applicable. So there's different answers given to it, but maybe we can say an answer based on what we learned earlier. We learned earlier that when Mashiach comes, all the brachas of prayer, of bakashas rachmim, of requests, will be transformed into praise. So now, the Gemara, when the Gemara says, if someone says, it's in the Gemara Saita that we're learning these days, when someone says quietly, when someone says davening loud, it's miktane emunah, it's as if Hashem can hear it. It seems very much as in the context of bakashas rachmim. You're asking Hashem, I need parnasa. So you're saying it loud because you're scared that Hashem can hear you. So then there's a chashash like that. But on the other hand, if someone's saying praise of Hashem, there's really a reason to say it loud. Because you're saying praise of Hashem, you want everyone to hear. That's less of a request, so that's why that could be a reason why you say tefillah b'koil ram Moshiach. That's an interesting thing, but a more simple reason is also why is it miktane emunah? Because you could daven low, you could daven to yourself. But if everyone davens out loud, and that's the regular norm, so then the harshness of this goes away already, because now we established that we're davening loud. So it's not so strong that you're davening loud. You're davening loud because that's halacha, not because of any other reason. Also, b'pashtus v'arter amik rebecha, when Mashiach comes, there'll be no bad. So no one will entertain the thought that you're miktane emunah. Everyone knows that Hashem's presence will be so strong. These little things like and davening loud, obviously Hashem can hear me. That's not even a question. Only in the time of the Hel and V'Hester do we have this issue. So maybe we'd be zeichet to find out very soon whether we're going to continue davening or not. With Mashiach Tzidkein and take it from Yad Mamash.
Amen.